What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Baer here today with a look at another Horus Heresy Primarch. This is, of course, the character series from Forge World, and today we're going to look at Corax, the Primarch of the XIX, or 19th Legion of Space Marines, the Raven Guard. This is an incredible miniature, and to be quite honest, I think this is one of those examples of something that may not look as good in the pictures and the way it was painted than how it looks up close. Once you start getting a look at it and kind of take it a closer look and looking at all the parts and how everything goes together, I was actually amazed. I was like, wow, this is one of the most intricately detailed miniatures I have ever seen. I mean, much less from Forge World. And I was just really excited how, I had no idea it was this good looking, and I was pleasantly surprised. So that just goes to show you, hey, sometimes don't believe the hype, don't believe what stuff looks like online, because it might turn out to be way better in person. But before we get to all that and get to unboxing, I'd like to invite you to stay in the trenches. Click on the Patreon link up there and help us keep our videos ad-free in 2016 here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Check out the blog, spikybitsblog.com, and head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle ports for exclusive content, early access videos, and special promotion codes to help you save on the hobby stuff you buy every month. Become a veteran of the Long War today. So like I was saying, this is a really great miniature. It's in the double, I guess we'll call it the double wide Forge World Primarch box right here. And of course, you got the little SKU or UPC tag on the back there for Corvus Corax, of course. And once you get it open, it kind of belittles actually how big the Primarch is. Now, another thing they did that I really dug this go around is they actually have instructions and part numbers. And Forge World's really bringing the heat, to be quite honest. They had, in the same order, they gave out this pamphlet, this little pamphlet right here, basically that was checked by a certain person, and just some tips and assembly guide things here, like what tools to use, and then all sorts of different tips and different things right here. And of course, they're trying to sell you some of their tools and things on the back. And the whole box, came expertly bubble wrapped. A lot of the products, like you probably already saw the Leviathan Dreadnought unboxing we did on here, was very good looking. And it's just Forge World's really bringing the heat and trying to step up their game, keep their products protected on the way out. Now, I feel like sometimes that kind of belittles the whole, hey, let's get it right in the first place, as we cast this stuff, get it out and take a better look at it, because sometimes you get stuff that just feels like they just threw it on the little table there and it's just all bent up, when if they had just spent a couple extra minutes, it would have been a lot better. So the little instruction manual here for Corax himself is, like I said, it's really amazing. You kind of get in here and you can kind of see it is a very intricate model, just judging by these pictures right here. So they show you where all the exhaust things goes on the back here, and then he's got two Archaeotech pistols basically, and then he has the pinions up here, his jetpack, special jetpack, a relic of Dark Age technology. And so they kind of explain how all that goes together, and you can see here that his lightning claws are actually sheathed. Depending on how you want to do it, you can have them sheathed or you can have them extended. And in the particular pose here, he's got one of his Archaeotech pistols straight gatting somebody, and then following up with his lightning claw. So, and of course he's got his energized whip on the back, and all those rules wise, all those come together to form one kind of solid cohesive rule set for Corax himself. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about his rules in the Heresy here in a second. But you can kind of feel what I'm saying here, where it's just such a nicely detailed model, and then they show the guy falling backwards right there and how to attach his little chainsaw, because it's basically falling out of his hand. So there's a little nub and it attaches that way. And then here's the parts list and the parts breakdown for the whole assembly, from Corax himself down to the casualty model, down to the base, which the bases are always really fun on this, because you put it on a 60 mil, and then he has a 40 mil that basically can attach, and you can magnetize the little terrain pieces, so you can kind of take it out, keep it as a display model, or keep it as a model to actually play with. Now let's get into the parts here, and what I've been doing lately. Some of the commenters were like, hey, it'd be really cool if we had some way to kind of tell, how big the parts truly were and things like that. I was like, hey, that's a great idea. Thank you for that. Let's get something in here for scale that we can all kind of agree on, right? This little Citadel mat here is all, I want to say these are basically 1/4 inch squares right here. So if that gives you a good idea of exactly how big these parts are going to be, well, I hope that helps out a lot. Now, so far I've only done smaller kits, so I think in the future we'll have to get out a bigger cutting mat here. So first off, we're going to show you some of his hand weapons here. So there's basically some of the hand weapons, and on the casualty himself right there, that's that little nub that they showed you on the instruction manual. There's a right on his fist right there, or the inside of his palm, there's a little nub to attach right there, and that's how that works. And then you can see here Corax's lightning claw gauntlets, and it all comes, you know, like I said, it's all very well protected. They got these little foamy pieces in here, and it's all very well done. Here's more of Corax's weapons. One of his Archaeotech pistols, his open hand here, and then of course the lightning claws. Actually, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a part of his feathers, and then his energized whip. And you can already tell, judging by the scale here, you know, that these are rather larger pieces. I mean, you're talking Terminator size shoulder pads right there. You can definitely tell. And that's for Corax himself. And then you start getting into some of, you know, the assemblies and things, like the back of his backpack, some of his Archaeotech pistols here that go on the back of his waist, and then some of his assemblies here, and a bolt pistol for the guy falling backwards. And then we see Corax himself, which he's a very large figure. I mean, look at that guy right there. He's bigger than a Terminator. He's almost on a 50 mil scale that we've seen a lot of the Primarchs in the past. Here's parts to the casualty model and Corax's head himself, which I actually think they used Corax's head on Lehman Russ. Remember when they showed the Lehman Russ previews? And I think they were like, hey, this isn't a head. But now that I'm looking at it here, I think they just kind of cut it down and use that as a base, and they're going to start building off of it right there. I might be wrong. May have the wrong facial recognition right there, and there's the casualty model. But it definitely looks like it. And then here's some of the thrust pieces for his pinions, which is his ginormous jetpack there. And here's a piece of the base. And then this is, let's see, how much room? Okay, yeah, we got plenty of room. So these are the pinions themselves. And I mean, when I turn this sideways for a profile view, you can definitely tell, woo, look at that right there. That is some serious modeling skill and a love. Because when you start messing with pieces of resin that are that flat and that unforgiving, you got to be on your hobby game right there. That is incredible. I mean, just to get that level of detail on something that flat, and you can tell it's slightly convex too. So you want to make sure that these, you know, you put one on and it isn't flopping this way, and then the other one's flopping this way. So you got to be, you got to be on your hobby game. You might have to kind of flatten these out just to get them to hold right. And you definitely probably want to magnetize his backpack here, because you don't want to be locked into a certain position with this, you know, to something that when you put it into your foam case or something like that, it's going to break. You want to protect the jetpack pinion system right here very well, because this is you know, this is bananas. I've never seen anything quite like this from Forge World, and kudos to them for, you know, really getting outside of their comfort level there and getting it done, because that's just straight up incredible. Now I'm going to carefully put this back in its package, because this Primarch actually is going out to one of our Patreon supporters this month. And what's really cool about Patreon, you know, I know I talked about it in the opening commercial there, gotta pay the bills, is not only does it give you guys a way to support the videos we do here, but also to pick up some swag depending on your, you know, your level of support. And there's some folks that get a whole lot of stuff in the mail every month. And, you know, obviously this guy right here, he retails at $74. So when you price him out, I think he ends up being $108. So, you know, somebody's going to get this in the mail, and I'll tell you what, he's getting a whole bunch more stuff too. So there's some folks that really clean up every month from the stuff we do here. And it's really cool, you know, it's funsies, you never know quite what you're going to get. Now the second box right here is a lot of the assembly to the bottom, but what we also haven't seen is, actually we did, I showed you that piece already. So here's part of the bottom. And one of the little attachment pieces broke off there, but there's the bottom. And generally these are the pieces that you have to magnetize somehow, because they kind of go together. So you start out with the 40 mil base here, or the 60 mil base, excuse me, and then you kind of work it up from there. Now you can kind of see from this little guy right here, how it's going to all go together. So you're going to have this piece that comes in and locks around it, and it looks like there's a little notch right there, and you can see a little notch right there, and that's where it's going to go right there. So you just have to kind of figure out how to magnetize it and get it to a good point to where you can reattach, so you can put this piece in here that Corax is going to be stepping to, and then you slide it in, you know what I mean? So you don't want to quite always lock those guys into position because you don't have a lot of flexibility with them to kind of pull them out and actually play with them if, you know, you're playing Heresy with these guys, or maybe you want to put them in your 40k army. Hey, how about those new Death Watch miniatures? Those things are incredible. I really like that one Raven Guard guy in there. And I'll tell you what, I just have this sneaky suspicion that they're going to end up making these guys, if they come in the box and they're all in clan pack form, I think we're going to see these guys as special characters here in the near future. So there is Corax. We can kind of take a look at that. Now, I wanted to go over his rules real quick because I always like talking about the Primarchs because these guys are just badass. Now, he's 450 points, and like I said, he's got a lot of special rules. He's got the panoply of the Raven Lord, which is, you know, all of his weapons. It includes his lightning claws and his energized whip there because they kind of work in tandem. It's strength of user, AP2, melee, shred, blind, fighting style, two-handed. So just keep that in mind. It does count as two-handed. So now remember, strengths of all the Primarchs generally are 6. I'm actually not sure if there was one stronger, but I imagine if anybody's going to be stronger, it's probably Angron and Sanguinus. But then again, they technically have the Furious Charge special rule there as well. So then you got the jetpack here, the pinions, the Corvidine pinions, which not only give him, you know, the ability to be a jump pack infantry model, yeah, they give him Hammer of Wrath, causing D3, Strength 5, AP3 hits, right? So it's actually almost a little bit better than the Khan in 40Ks. Moondraken bike, which I thought was pretty neat because that's always fun when you hammer wrath into people with that. He's got the fighting style thing I was talking about for the panoply. You kind of at the beginning of each assault phase you choose one of the following special rules. So you can do Death Strike, where all to wound rolls a 5+ with his close combat attacks wound their target regardless of his toughness, and any rolls to damage vehicles gain an extra 3 to their armor pen. Remember, he's strength 6. Or you can do Scourge, where he gains D3 extra attacks. Or you can do Shadow Walk, where he imposes a -1 penalty on all to hit rolls of every model which is attacking him. So I guess if you start starting to get bogged down by some elite level type stuff, you'd want to go with that. So he's got some other special rules that don't necessarily pertain to the model and just his innate abilities. Like, he's the sire of the Raven Guard. Corax gains +1 initiative and +1 strength on any turn in which he charges. All models with the Raven Guard special rule also do not have to roll to determine their maximum run distance and always run 6. And then he's the Shadow Lord special rule, of course, because remember, he could just be like, hey, you don't see me, and he's just technically invisible. Well, keeping that in mind, unless he's part of a unit, or if Corax is not the closest target to the following unit, or the firing unit is either a Psyker or a Demon of some kind, or another Primarch, only snapshots may be taken against him. So that kind of confers the invisibility special rule under a few caveats right there. At the beginning of Corax's controlling player's turns, Corax may be removed from play and placed in ongoing reserves. He may even be withdrawn from close combat in this manner, but only as his initiative is higher than that of his opponents. So he has to be a little bit stronger-willed to pull this off, and not his fellow Primarchs or a Psyker or a Demon to kind of pull his Jedi mind tricks there. And then he has, of course, the Sable Armor, which is this intricate, crazy ass set of armor here that we saw when he was kind of jumping in there, and the 50mm kind of scale model, fashioned for the Master of the Raven Guard by the Emperor's own artificers. A suit of highly sophisticated power armor not only offers the Primarch defense against outside attack, it also masks his sensor signature and can be used to disrupt enemy sensors and transmissions in his immediate vicinity. The Sable Armor provides a 2+ save and a 5+ invulnerable. In addition, any enemy unit deep striking within 12 of him will suffer a deep strike mishap on any roll of a double on their deep strike scatter roll. Enemy teleport homers and location beacons and any similar items of war gear, good caveat, do not function within this radius. So he's got a lot of cool special rules, and of course the normal Primarch rule: independent character, eternal warrior, fear, adamantite will, fearless, it will not die, master of legion, which we just kind of talked about there. That's a sire of the Raven Guard rule. Master of legion is completely something different. And it's jump infantry, blah 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 blah. Comes with frag grenades, shroud bombs, 2 Archaeotech pistols built in. It's not part of his little panoply of the Raven Lord special rule there. Hit and run, bulky, And that's pretty much it. You know, standard Primarch stat line: weapon skill 7, ballistic skill 6, strength 6, toughness 6, weapon skill 6, initiative 7. It's 6 attacks, leadership 10, and 2 up. Armor save there, which of course he has a 5 up as well that we just talked about. So that's about it for this one, guys. I hope you really enjoyed taking a closer look at Corax, because he's a great looking model. I definitely think we as a community didn't give him a fair shake, but there it is. I think he's a great model. I definitely recommend buying this guy for just about anything conversion wise, and of course if you're aficionado of the Raven Guard.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.